All right, man, let's talk about this rumor that Boots is ducking Bakhram Murtazaliev. They saying on the internet that he told Murtazaliev that he didn't want to fight because of the 10-pound rehydration clause in the IBF, and people like, well, moving up in weight, you think, why are you worried about a 10-pound rehydration clause? I believe Jamil responded to it on Watson Media on Facebook and said that all these rumors are not true or whatever. Now, I already know Murtazaliev said he was coming back in the ring September 13th. So, I mean, to be honest with you, for the most part, it's probably a little bit too, probably already has something in the works. And the better question is why Virgil didn't fight him, which would have made the Boots fight a lot better. Now, I believe Boots said he wanted to fight Virgil. And he said Virgil right now dealing with an injury and he can't fight right now. So that's what's stopping them from fighting. Which for my thing is, once again, Virgil been sitting at the weight. Why didn't he fight Murtazaliev, who been begging for a title fight? I'll tell you why, because he lost his last 2 fights, and they know he lost his last 2 fights. He probably taking them power pellets for all the fuck we know. No fucking injury. That motherfucker taking power pellets. Trying to get that power pellets out of his fucking system. Allegedly. But yeah, like why you ain't go fight Murtazaliev, get a title? I never understood it. I never understood that play. He probably wasn't gonna win that fight, so that's why he didn't. So, I think Boots, if you having a tune up at 100 and if you tuning up at 154 pounds, Murtazaliev ain't the guy to tune up again. But he coming off a hand injury. He been out since he beat Tim Tszyu. That was ain't that long ago. So coming up on a year though. I mean, I don't understand why. Why they just don't go ahead and press play on that. That's my number one question. Why not just go ahead and fight him? Go ahead. I mean, but then again, everybody have their, own agendas when it comes to this stuff. Everybody had their own agendas, man. But do I believe it? Probably not. They want to tune up. Some people say he should fight Madrid. I'm like, damn, he coming off like a couple losses, or at least a loss. I mean, yes, if you're trying to one up Virgil by having a better performance, so I think he beat Virgil. You're trying to one up Bud, so that makes sense. So I don't know any direct knowledge if he did or didn't duck Murtazaliev, but I know that's a dangerous fight to ask anybody to walk in the weight and to take that fight. That's a dangerous fight. That's a very dangerous fight. So I get it. So I'm not knocking him for not taking that fight. I'm looking more funnier. I'm looking at old buddy a little bit funny. I'm looking at, Virgil Ortiz funny, like, dog, why you ain't go get this guy? You talked about fighting Jamil. You talked about fighting Errol Spence. But you ain't talked about fighting this dude. He got a belt. You ain't ever won a belt. So, no, I'm not going to come on here and say, oh, Boots ducking hell. Even if Boots told him, no, not right now. Hey, this is his first fight at 54. I understand that. But the guy that been at the weight a few fights, who should already had a title to make the Jaron Boots Ennis fight that much more attractive, and Virgil Ortiz, I felt like he should have went out there and handled his business and got a title already. Like, what's stopping him? But you know what? They don't. What am I doing? They don't believe in him. That's just the God honest truth. They don't believe in Virgil Ortiz. They don't believe in Virgil Ortiz. And if you being God honest truth, they don't believe in his talent. They don't believe in his talent. But to Boots, I mean, if he said no, I think he deserves to be able to get acclimated to the weight. And I can't call it a duck, but I can call it a duck is Virgil Ortiz not fighting him. That's what we can say. That's what we can say. That's what we can call a duck. But, Boots an easy target. We go to the Norman thing and, Norman and them said they shortchanged them. But what it really would have mattered, Norman injured his hand anyway. Boots don't generate enough money to put the fight in Vegas and put it in. Norman don't generate enough money to put it in Atlanta. So for the most part, Norman, after getting the title, which most people think was premature, and I'm not just saying, they was really setting the Mexican up to get that title. You get a title and you want him to run at the Boots right away. Then I just feel like you have to compensate him with a lot of money. You have to overpay. And then, you go around and say, it didn't matter. Barrios wasn't going to never fight him. He got a pass. Everybody on Norman. Norman, like, look what they paid Stay On This. You know what I'm saying? And our fight is bigger than any Stay On This fight. And that's fair. Eddie Hearn is a pilgrim. He do all this talking and all this. They put Boots, what's so nasty work about Boots, Eddie lined him against a financial fight against Virgil Ortiz. He didn't take it. He would have got a big payday versus T.O. Then all of a sudden the doctor say he can't make the weight no more. That's why Boots looking iffy. They know all these guys can talk about what he did in sparring. We hear about wonderful guys that do great in sparring, but when it comes to the fight, we don't see it. Like what he's saying, he's showing in sparring. You see some of it in the fight, but you don't see this mythical fucking unicorn that they speak about. You don't see that. You don't see that in his fights. And we just being the God honest truth. We just telling the God honest truth. There's no disrespect to the man. They speak about him like he can take a loaf of bread and feed the world. You know what I'm saying? We don't really see what y'all really cooking. Y'all talking about him in these fights. We don't really see it. And I'm just keeping it funky. So yeah, we can continue to have these conversations. We can continue to have these conversations about them, and that's fine and dandy. And that's fine and dandy. But when I look at it, dog, what they selling ain't matching up. I hear the sparring stories. I see people that was there. I hear all the mythical things that he done in the ring and all that. I hear that. But when they're looking at the fights and you looking at the confidence of a fighter, when it come to him, I don't see it. It's always something. Oh, I want to get all the belts. I don't want to fight Virgil. I want to get all the belts. You're like, okay, cool. Okay, that's what you want to do. You don't get all the belts. You do get one. T.O. said, I'll fight you, and that's what bigger fighters have made a name on historically throughout boxing is going up there fighting guys that's bigger than them. That's what boxing has been pretty much built on. Is bigger fighters, smaller fighters coming up. Hagler, Hearns, Leonard, Duran, Bernard. He with Trinidad, De La Hoya. That's what the sport has been. That's what the sport is all about. So now you coming in here, every time it's a challenge, you making an excuse. Oh, I don't want to move a fight Virgil. Oh, I don't want to make 20 million fighting Teofimo. I don't think he really want to fight. Like, it's just like, man, I'm done with it. Like, that's the thing about it. Oh, I don't want to fight Devin Haney because I would do him dirty. Like what do you care about having mercy on motherfuckers? I don't get it. I don't want to underperform versus T.O. And I was done with him when he said that. I don't give a fuck, bro. So he going to show us at junior middleweight. Probably going to fight a nobody at junior middleweight. Then fight Virgil. That tells me nothing. It absolutely tells me nothing. It's a good fight. But it just don't tell me nothing. I want to see it, but, neither one of them got a title. Virgil been there, like, I just like, whatever, dude. It's whatever, dude. You start just doing the math. You like, but hey, man. I mean, I'm gonna call it a duck. It's his first swing up there. Boots don't really be talking greasy, for real, for real. I just really think they in it to get their money and get out. They no different than nobody else. Hit the link in the description. Follow me on X, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Amazon, Kick, Twitch, Pregame89, the whole nine. Peace.